let me drive. You know how I hate being late.
He's not there yet.
Bye. See you tonight.
I have to remember. Daddy.
And this here's our clerk to the Justices, Catherine Tyrrell. Kath, I'd like you to meet Gareth.
Guys, new security guard.
Hi, sorry. Bit pushed. Griff? No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled.
Just take a seat. I'll be within about 10 minutes. Mr. and Mrs. White. Court number 2 in about 5 minutes.
Well, don't look so nervous. That was a good run through yesterday. This way.
Where's he gone?
2 months ago, an application by the local authority for an interim care order in respect of the children Kirsten White, age 11, and Adam White, age 5, was granted by this court. Today we decide whether the children are to remain in care or return home to their parents, Beverly and Gregory White. Mrs. Tomsett, as solicitor for the local authority, could you outline your opposition to the children returning home?
The authority first became involved in this case nearly 4 months ago, when the police found the children wandering the streets in the early hours of the morning, tired, cold, and unsuitably dressed. When social services returned the children to their home, the mother said she had no idea the children had gone out. Both parents promised to be more vigilant in future. However, the children were picked up again on a number of occasions.
So it's just you two then, is it?
Yes, our first time together, isn't it, Wyn?
So how does that work then? Because I always thought there was 3 judges.
I'm so good. I count as 2.
Ah, there you are. I thought I might introduce you, but it seems...
One step ahead, mate.
Be useful to have you out front.
Message received, boss. Can't have him left in the lurch, can we? By your worships.
By Gaz.
I'd now like to call Mr. Ian Davis, the family's social worker. Mr. Davis, could you start by telling us what happened on the night that gave you particular cause for concern?
Yes, it was a Friday around 11 p.m. The police contacted me to say that they'd received a phone call from a telephone kiosk from Kirsten White. She told them that she was scared because Dad was hurting Mum. I went to the police station to wait with the children whilst the police attended to the call.
According to the police report, the police called at the home of Mrs. Beverly White to find her seemingly well, though wearing a torn blouse. Mrs. White said that the tear was due to the fact that she was a little drunk and assured the police that there were no problems. She said that she'd sent the children out for chips and was now quite distressed as to where they were.
Thank you.
How did the children seem to you?
Kirsten wouldn't talk at first. Then I noticed Adam was holding his arm a little, like this. I asked to look at it and saw that it was badly bruised. Kirsten said that he'd done it at school. Then she started crying and told me that she was very sorry, that she'd called the police to cause trouble, and now she just wanted to go home.
Morgan. Well, pushed it, but I think I can swing a suspended if you agree to pay a £5 a week.
But I can't afford to, Mr. Singh. There's other priorities. The lecky, store cards.
A finance company can't send you to prison. The magistrates can.
But if you explained my situation...
I have. That's how I got your last repayment deal. And did you pay it?
The wife is house proud, see? And when I lost my job, I promised her she wouldn't go without.
She'd be going without you if you don't pay up, Morgan. They didn't stick you in here for the fun of it.
Have you always had a close relationship with your children?
Yes. When Greg went inside, they kept me going.
I'd like to remind the court that Mr. Gregory White has recently served 2.5 years of a 4-year prison sentence. He was released early from prison 4 months ago on condition that he wore an electronic tag and kept to a curfew in his home between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. for a period of 60 days.
Thank you.
How did they feel about their father coming home?
Excited. They couldn't wait. They made this Welcome Home Dad banner. And we baked a cake, but...
Go on.
They didn't know each other. The house is small. We were all on top of one another. And they were used to having me to themselves.
So they felt unsettled by him. Shut out, maybe.
Kirsten more so. I think she just wanted more of my attention. And that's when she started going off without telling me. I should have realised.
You had a lot to deal with. So, the night that Kirsten phoned the police, you said you'd sent them out for chips?
They were dressed up warm. I told them to be back in 10 minutes.
But you had been warned by social services.
I know. I'm sorry, I am. They were wound up. I thought maybe the walk... Then, when they didn't come back, I panicked. I didn't know if they were playing up or if something had happened. And I couldn't call the police.
Why not?
I was hardly in a position to report 2 missing children.
Of course. So, why do you think Kirsten made that call?
She kept saying, you and Dad don't want us around. And maybe there were times when we wanted a bit of space, but... These past months, seeing him just 3 times a week in that awful family centre, with all those people watching. I want them around. I want them around.
Non-payment of TV licence, non-payment of 4 traffic offences and of compensation which remains outstanding, £734 in total.
Mr. Singh. Mr. Price was only recently made redundant from Castle Steelworks. He is now trying to support himself and his wife on benefits, little more than £80 a week. He has other financial commitments, and his meagre redundancy pay has been swallowed up in a spiral of mounting debts. That is why he's neglected to pay these fines. But, hopefully, being brought here on warrant today has helped him realise that they are a priority.
Have you any money to pay today?
No, not really.
Do you possess any goods that you own absolutely and that the courts could sell to pay off these fines?
No, not really. It's mostly HP. Sorry.
That's a nice suit, Mr. Price. New, is it?
Yes, for court. The wife said it would make a good impression.
Well, we are satisfied, Mr. Price, that you've had money to pay, but have neglected to do so. We'll retire to discuss how best to deal with this.
Court rise.
Right, time for a quick move in.
Shouldn't we discuss what to do?
No, let him sweat a bit. Go in, sentence him to 28 days. Suspended on him paying up. Works every time.
Said he can't pay.
He's got a brand new suit. Probably a house full of stuff that I can only dream about. He can pay.
But he could go to prison.
That can sometimes happen when people break the law, you know.
What did you serve time for?
Aggravated burglary.
That's burglary armed with an offensive weapon, isn't it?
I never used it.
You say you barely knew your son. That bruise on his arm.
He got that at school. I'd never raise a hand to a child.
But what about your wife? It's just that there were several reported complaints from a neighbour of late-night rows.
One neighbour. The kind who don't like living next door to an ex-con. He called the police at 2 in the afternoon once. I was putting up shelves.
And this tear on your wife's blouse, was this also your handiwork?
No.
I'd like to point out that no allegations of violence have been made against Mr. White.
The 999 call from Kirsten White?
That was retracted.
What are you getting at, Mrs. Thompson?
A call from a frightened child, a torn blouse. Bit of a coincidence on the same night.
You may as well tell them.
What?
Mrs. White.
That we had sex. It's better than what they're thinking.
Mrs. White, please don't interrupt. You've had your chance to speak.
Is this true?
Yeah. We snatched a bit of time together while the kids were out. I know this must look, but Kirsten, she hated me so much as touching Bev, so it was impossible while they were there. We were selfish, but honestly, Kirsten calling the police brought us to our senses.
Nothing further.
It probably suited them that the kids were out at night. They couldn't go out because of his tag.
They wanted a second honeymoon. Daughter sensed it, felt in the way.
Well, they've had 2 months to sate their sexual appetite.
Are you planning on working through? It's just I'm having lunch with Griff. I could cancel.
No, you get on. Have a lovely time.
I don't know about that. We fell out this morning. I think he's expecting me to apologise.
And will you?
Depends where he takes me.
Just watch, I'll turn this all on me.
Come on now.
I'd never hurt him.
I know.
I tried, Bev. All the time.
I know.
Is it really bad inside?
It's prison, Morgan. It's not meant to be nice. Let's just hope you feel it's worth it.
Mr. Singh! Is it too late to pay? Is it?
What have you got?
£850. It's in an art box on top of the wardrobe. The wife doesn't know it's there. Was gonna take it to Venice as a surprise.
I'll see what I can do.
Keep the change.
I've rescued a good few people myself. Trained is what troubles you. Not in the same league as firefighting, though. Respect for that. You don't have to be tall to be a fireman.
No, like you don't have to have brains to be a bouncer.
Thanks, man. Hey, I'll have to call you Sam.
The fireman Sam, innit?
Been with me 3 years. Never seen him violent before. He's my best friend. I couldn't bear it if they
It
said
might
he...
not come to that. Okay? I haven't seen him.
You okay?
Fine.
How was lunch?
Illuminating.
How many glasses?
And barely touched the second. Could do with a coffee, though. If it's not beneath you.
The thing is, I gotta be in court.
Better go then.
Your Worships, Mr. Lloyd's border collie is 4 years old and has never before displayed signs of violence. He had been castrated the afternoon before the day in question, and as the gentleman among us will appreciate, was therefore a little out of sorts. And that is why he uncharacteristically lashed out and bit the passing pedestrian's hand. Mr. Lloyd is a widower. His dog, Cymro, has been his sole companion for the past few years.
Cymro. Cymro Cymraeg.
Yeah.
Ware teg I chi.
Maybe we should continue in the language of the court.
Yes, please.
Yes, well, Mr. Lloyd assures me that he will make every effort to keep his dog under control in future.
Mrs. Price, thanks for coming in.
So if any armed robbers try it on, tip me the wink.
Will do.
I'm trained to spot trouble in the crowd, see. Anything I can do you for, Sam?
Yes. About this time, security normally checks every room in the building.
On to it, boss.
Since when?
Since I needed 5 minutes peace. Did he mention he was a bouncer? All right?
I think my mum's here. Beverly White?
Kirsten White had been her mother's ally for 3 years and has admitted to resenting the intrusion of her father into their lives. Now, Mr. White, in turn, had to deal with being a semi-prisoner and a stranger in his own home, a situation that can't have been easy. Hopefully, with better communication, which has been evident in the contact sessions, particularly between Kirsten and her father, priorities will be reassessed. As for Adam's bruising, both children assure me that it happened at school and there have been no other signs of violence.
Thank you. We will retire to reach a decision.
Stand, please.
Well, that was very positive. Excuse me, toilet.
So, you think we got a good chance?
Have they decided?
No, you shouldn't be here.
I could organise a taxi back for her.
I want to stay.
You can't, love.
Look, it'll take you a few minutes to get here. I suggest you wait out of sight.
Pardon me for saying a few words in my mother tongue. We are in Wales.
There's another thing. Welsh speakers who use the language to exclude others. People who turn to Welsh when I walk in the room. It's plain ignorant and rude.
Decided? Sorry, Hugh. Margaret is too busy running down the Welsh. We don't have to destroy old Cymro, do we?
Not necessarily.
Just a control order, then.
Well, we haven't discussed it.
Oh, boy, Spark!
He's doing it again! Contact sessions have proved productive. Family dynamics settled down. That call. I mean, he was still tagged then, so the child knew that if she called the police, she could get him back inside. I mean, it's pretty desperate. Was there violence?
Probably just wanted Dad out of the way.
Sorry, knock on my parents. Just started today. Security.
Right.
Hi. Leave you get on.
Just to remind you that in 98% of cases, the court does follow the children's guardian's recommendation.
It's not adding up.
How's Dad been?
Fine. Missing you. But it's looking hopeful, and I will ring as soon as we know. It'll all be all right again. Promise.
What are you doing here? If that lot catch
She's
you...
worried, that's all. She's going now.
Sorry. don't want to risk it.
Cab's outside. I can take it down for you.
Thanks. Just a sec.
Give Adam a big kiss from me. Maybe see you tonight then? I'll ring. Fingers crossed.
You done the right thing. Prison is rough, everyone says.
Is that the money?
No, it's clean socks, Morgan, and cigarettes. I tried to persuade your wife, but she reckons you may as well do the time. It'll cancel your fines, and she said to tell you to think of the Christmas that you'll have when you get out.
Right.
If it's any consolation, my ex was a bit grabby too.
She's not grabby, Mr. Jarvis. Just practical.
But what if the dog snaps again?
He'll be under control.
There's no guarantee.
You're right. Okay, you were right. Let's kill the damn dog.
Oh, I didn't mean...
No, you're spot on.
Oh, but I don't know. I'm not
If
sure.
in doubt, heads he wins, tails he dies.
Oh, God.
It's still ultimately the magistrate's decision.
Sorry, I just need to borrow you for a minute. A few personal details.
Right.
Well, can't go around separating families for the sake of it, I suppose. Why do I do this? I'll fall in. They can go home. Let's just hope the Guardian's right.
What's going on?
Come and sit down, Bev. Kirsten's told us everything. We're obliged to make a report. The police have been alerted.
What she said? What you said?
I saw him that night through the window.
Kirst, we've been through this. You just got cross, that's all. Trapped in there like an animal. Don't do this. You'll come home, I'll look after you.
You can't keep sending us out.
He's better now.
No, he's not. Show me your ribs. You said he'd stop once the tag was off.
Kirst, he can't help it.
You should make a statement to the police. If you don't speak out against him and Kirsten does, you stand to lose the kids for good.
After a lengthy and to a certain degree unnecessary deliberation, we have decided to issue an order that you keep your dog under proper control. We trust that you will stick to these conditions. We also order that you pay £30 court costs.
Report right.
Oh, yes. And you can tell Cymro from me, he may have lost his balls, but at least he's Welsh.
It's all right.
He was never like that before he went in. I just wanted my family back.
What's the hold-up?
Mrs. White's with the police. Seems Mr. White was prone to violent rages. She was sending the kids out for their own protection. She hoped he'd get better, but he beat her only last night.
And we were going to send them back there.
Just tell me where she is.
Calm down, mate.
What have you done with her?
Mr. Gregory White, I'm arresting you on suspicion of assault.
Easy does it.
I'd like to thank you for your courage in coming forward and making your statement. In view of these new developments, the court will issue a care order for the two children, Kirsten and Adam White, for a period of 2 months, during which time you'll be assessed.
But he's gone now. They'll be safe with me.
Mrs. White, you harboured a violent man in your home and put your children at grave risk. You need time to rehabilitate and to prove to this court that you're strong enough to put your children's welfare first. As a victim of domestic abuse, I strongly urge you to seek counselling. Contact arrangements will be made by the local authority.
Stand, please.
I'll be taking Kirsten back if you want to say goodbye.
How long's it been going on? I see. You never meant for it to happen. Oh, thanks. That makes me feel so much better.
What's up? Kath?
Griff. He's been having an affair. If you had to choose between me and a 14-stone frump who wears cheesecloth smocks, who would you pick?
Is he leaving?
I think he wants me to tell him what to do.
Sorry.
Months. I've been to parties there. Welcomed her and her kids into my home. Let her play with my kids. Oh, she's so fat, Hugh.
Sorry, both. But I must have a word about Winford Thomas. Today, he tossed a coin to determine a dog's fate.
Do you remember him before he went in?
Yes.
And what do you remember? Love you.
I love you too. See you next week.
The great news is, one of the pluses, if you like, is that I get to bonk myself senseless, absolutely guilt-free.
Damn, shame I'm spoken for.
If he leaves, I have to get a childminder.
Ew! Quick word.
Just a sec.
Listen, that woman, she's driving me crazy. Should never have been accepted. Stupid old bag. For her 15 years. She's anti-Welsh. She's a Tory. Now, everyone is still on that all right. They're going to be with me. I've been going to now for Lanai. don't ever sit us together again. All I do, I just walk since there's nothing left.